Read it if you don't believe me.
See what I have in store for you.
Go now. I can't hold them back any longer.
There is one question which underpins almost every school of thought out there, from science to religion, and that question is, what is reality? While different doctrines will approach such a question through concepts like perception, realms, and the Almighty, In the Mouth of Madness takes a very particular stance, arguing that reality is, more than anything, a matter of perspective.
The thing I can't remember is what came first, us or the book.
We are not living in a Sutter Cane story. This is not reality.
While translating this ideology coherently in 90 minutes is certainly a tall task, fans of John Carpenter know well that he's dabbled with similar themes in the past in his classic They Live. But In the Mouth of Madness's discussion of perspective-based reality goes further, first tying itself to themes of cosmic horror and sanity, while also deconstructing the very idea of fiction and how new invented realities have the power to recreate our worldview, shifting our very idea of reality in the process. It's hard to ignore the influence of Lovecraft on In the Mouth of Madness. Hell, even the film's title pays homage to Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. Lovecraft is well known for developing a unique subgenre referred to as cosmic horror, which emphasizes themes of cosmic dread, forbidden knowledge, non-human influences on humanity, fate and inevitability, and the fragility of human sanity. Trent, like many Lovecraftian protagonists, lives in a world of science and clear truths, and as an insurance investigator, he thrives on these things.
Well, usually, yeah, that's the way it goes. It's just I have a few final questions to ask about the fire.
More questions. I've answered all your questions. Enough's enough.
You're really starting to sweat. Shall I turn on the air conditioning? What do you think?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
See, we have these photographs of your wife tooling around town wearing various articles that you claim were destroyed in the fire.
Only problem is that his headstrong belief in the world as he knows it sends him in the direction of a force which he totally underestimates, and upon being exposed to it, he's left wondering what exactly reality is. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness even follows a pretty similar narrative, but Carpenter's film makes some huge deviations, mainly in pushing the ideas of fates into fifth gear by introducing the mind-bending meta-narrative.
Did you make any requests?
Just one. A single black crayon.
Taking on a very familiar surface structure, the film consists of two key time zones, a disturbing present and a retold past. Beginning in the present, we witness protagonist John Trent getting pushed into a padded cell at a mental asylum.
Look, I'm sorry about the balls. It was a lucky shot, that's all. Wait!
While he insists he's sane, his habitual drawing of crosses all over his cell says otherwise, prompting Dr. Wren to try and get to the bottom of his sudden mental episode. And so, Trent shares his story with the doctor, propelling us back into the past. Here, Trent is a very astute freelance insurance investigator, known for nipping each case in the bud. Following a successful case, he and his boss are attacked by an axe-wielding maniac who asks him,
"Do you read Sutter Cane?"
And wouldn't you know it, his next case is with the famed author's publisher, Jackson Harglow, who tasks Trent with locating the missing cane and the manuscript to his latest novel.
So what happened to this cash cow of yours?
Cane disappeared 2 months ago without a trace. The police have turned up nothing.
Trent learns that Cane has a reputation for causing mental instability in his readers, resulting in large-scale unrest with each new release of his books. While Trent chalks this up to mass hysteria, he takes on the investigation and begins to dive into Cane's work in the hope to find clues. As foretold, by reading Cane's work, the world suddenly becomes a very strange place with the line between lived experience, hallucination, and dream beginning to blur. In this daze, he notices that when combined, the book covers form a map leading to a location in New Hampshire called Hobbs End. Bringing this information to the publisher, Trent is teamed up with editor Linda Stiles to go and investigate.
I can see.
Excuse me?
He sees you.
Right, tell him I say hi.
On the road, the pair struggle to locate the town, with it reportedly not existing on any maps. Persisting through the night, Linda spots some strange happenings on the road before they're spat out into Hobbs End in broad daylight. At this point, it's fair to say that there's something strange going on. Wandering through town and checking into a hotel, the pair note that Hobbs End shares many similarities with Cane's novels. They initially brush off the thought until they spot a black Byzantine church, which is iconic of Cane's novels, and, well, completely incongruous in the middle of nowhere in 20th century America.
Johnny boy!
Can't bullshit a bullshitter, can you? This whole thing has been staged, that's how.
Trent claims that it's all a publicity stunt, but things soon begin spiraling out of control after Linda posits the unthinkable. She suggests that they're experiencing events of Cane's new, unreleased book, which tells the story of the end, where people turn into monsters. Trent laughs at the notion, but Linda sparks off with one of the most ideologically pressing lines in the film, pushing that.
A reality is just what we tell each other it is. Sane and insane could easily switch places if the insane were to become the majority. You would find yourself locked in a padded cell.
She rushes to the church to try and draw Cane out, but is instead pulled into dimension warping space and forced to read new pages from his new book, In the Mouth of Madness. Not only does Linda lose her mind and start growing freaky tentacles, but Trent soon discovers the entire town is also turned. After being overwhelmed by a mob, he's taunted by Cane, who explains he wishes to release the old ones, Lovecraftian entities that are too complex and all-encompassing for humans to fathom. In his eyes, the book is the new Bible, which will help people see the true reality of the universe.
Do you want to know the problem with places like this? No one's ever believed it enough to make it real.
This touches on the ideas of Immanuel Kant, who proposed the dualist concepts of phenomena and noumena. Now, I'm not suggesting that Kant was a believer in bringing old gods back from another dimension. Far from it. In fact, Kant envisioned a world guided by reason, but stated that we don't have the means to see the universe as it truly is, and there are some notable similarities between Kant's theory and what we see in the film. Kant's theory of phenomena and noumena essentially argues that there are two sides to the world we live in. First, we have the phenomena, also known as the realm of the senses, within which we can comprehend what exists around us. We can see, hear, touch, and observe phenomena in this realm, and thus understand it. But beyond these phenomena is the noumena, and Kant essentially argued that the noumena is the true objective reality of the universe, but one that is sealed off from us due to our reliance on human senses. In less complex jargon, the noumena is often called the thing in itself, as it is the true form of the universe. Coming back to the film, we see the worlds of phenomena and noumena colliding, forcing humans to recontextualize their understanding of reality. After all, in our everyday lives, we never see beyond the phenomena, but thanks to Cane's writing, our characters are exposed to the shattering truths which lie beyond their comprehension.
You are what I write. Like this town. It wasn't here before I wrote it. And neither were you.
Cane hands Trent the completed manuscript and explains that he will give it to the publisher, as that's how the events have been written.
Trent's eyes refused to close. He did not shriek, but the hideous, unholy abominations shrieked for him.
Despite his efforts to burn the manuscript and bury its secret, when he explains everything that's happened to Harglow, he's told that not only did Linda never exist, but that he'd already given him the manuscript months ago. Furthermore, there's already a movie adaptation in the works.
Every species can smell its own extinction. And in 10 years, maybe less, human race will just be a bedtime story for their children. A myth, nothing more.
Unfazed by the return of the old ones and the literal end of the world, Trent grabs some popcorn and heads into a completely empty multiplex to watch In the Mouth of Madness, featuring him. As it turns out, he's been a character in a work of fiction all along. Underpinning the film's discussion of what reality is, we slowly come to the realization that one person is actually writing the reality we're watching.
I think therefore you are.
That person, of course, being Sutter Cane. Well, sort of. Of course, adding to the meta-narrative is the fact that the story is written by screenwriter Michael DeLuca, and the film is directed by Carpenter himself. This begins to tackle the meta-narrative concepts of fandom and playing God. The film mobilizes these themes in two key ways. First, it explores how Cane's followers are led to a cult-like madness when he reveals the secrets of the universe, in turn discussing the influence that literature and even film can have on our ideologies. While secondly, it subtly unpicks the narrative of writer, creator, director as God.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm God now, you understand?
If we take a closer look at Cane, we see an individual who manages to step outside of Kant's dualist system, managing to experience both the phenomena and the noumena, a deconstruction of how creators become the all-seeing power which both crafts and understands the inner workings of the worlds they've constructed. And unfortunately for everyone, Cane's world is ultimately one of chaos, where Trent accepts that he's just a character in a book, predetermined to bring about the end of the world. Brimming with discussions of reality, going all the way from our inner perceptions to the meta-discussions of author as God, its ideological debates, paired with Carpenter's ever-enthralling style, prove that In the Mouth of Madness is one of his most compelling films. Well, that's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to stay up to date on all my content. And yeah, if you have any other suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niyat here with Film and Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
I'm not insane. You hear me? I'm not insane!